Hi, I am Paula from the Knitting Pipeline podcast. I host an audio podcast and do an occasional video episode. In the last episode, I've got a creaky chair here, I'll try to be still. In the last episode, I talked about, or I said that if people have questions, feel free to ask them and I would answer them on the show. And 2 people asked what kind of sewing machine I have. So I thought I'd do a separate episode here just to tell you about the machine and also the 2 irons that I have and what I look for now in these pieces of equipment. I've never had a really nice sewing machine before until I got this one, but I will say this is not an expensive machine at all, but I do consider it a great value. I have no affiliation whatsoever with any of these products. I am not an Amazon affiliate. I won't benefit in any monetary way from telling you about these products, but I do really like them, and I'll tell you why. So thank you for the question. I've been meaning to do this for a while anyway, so it's a good time to do it. The machine I had previous to this was a really inexpensive Walmart Martha Stewart Singer machine, Martha Stewart model Singer. And it basically died during the last quilt, or during the quilt I made for my granddaughter 3.5 years ago. And when I took it to the store or the repair place, he said, it gave me an estimate of what it would cost to fix it, and it was way more than what I had paid for the machine. And also, it did not have an extension table for quilting, which I really wanted. I asked him how much an extension table would cost for that machine. It would have to be custom made or something, and it was going to be $110 just for that, plus the cost of repairing the machine. It wasn't that good of a machine to begin with. So he kept the machine, and I said, that's fine, do with it what you want. I had looked online for a new machine because I knew that machine was coming to its life's end, and I saw this one, which is a Brother CS 6000i, and that will be linked below, so you can go look at it. I thought it sounded too good to be true because it was only $149, and I thought there's just no way this can be that great of a machine for that price. But we had the Knitting Pipeline retreat, and one of the demonstrators was showing a sewing technique for felted mittens, if you've ever seen those, and she actually had this right there. And I said, I've been looking at that machine. All I did was Google, I did a search for best sewing machines, or I did best inexpensive sewing machines for quilting. And this came up at the top of the list. And she said, I have a really nice, I don't know what it was, Fab or Bernina or something. But she said, this is what I take when I demo, and it's a great machine. So yeah, I'd say go ahead and get it. So I went home that day and ordered it from Amazon. And I'll tell you some things I like about it. First of all, it's easily portable, it's lightweight, it sews great. It has 60 decorative or utilitarian stitches on it. When I made my grandmother's fan quilt that I showed in the last 2 episodes, I used the buttonhole stitch, which is like the buttonhole stitch to applique the blades onto the grandmother's fan. It worked fantastic. The table here, I know you can't see this perfectly, but I'll bring it around. Actually, I'm going to get a different chair before I do that, because otherwise you guys are going to go crazy. That gave me opportunity to also get closer to the machine. Now, if you go to Amazon and look at this machine, you'll see that there is a video there that'll show all the features. So I'm just going to point out a few things. This, which you can't see real well, but there maybe you can. It comes with an extension table for quilters, and a lot of machines do not come with this. I'm going to move it so you can see better. Okay, so this just slides off, and then there's a piece that goes on here, which I have stored in the back there. The bobbin is a top-loading bobbin. You can always see how much is on your bobbin thread, or your bobbin, how much thread is on your bobbin. It's really simple to see that. It's super easy to wind the bobbin up here. They even put the diagram on top of the machine, so it's super simple. Threading the machine is very easy. This is almost just right out of the box. You can start using it. I would recommend reading the manual, but so much of it is self-explanatory. Right now I have the walking foot on it, and this did come with a walking foot, and also came with this little bar that I've recently learned how to use for straight line quilting. One of my favorite features, other than that bobbin, because I always just never knew, and I know some machines have a bobbin alert, empty bobbin alert, but I can just see it here. But it's so frustrating to run out of bobbin thread and not know that you're getting there. This is a push button for start and stop if you don't want to use the foot pedal, but I never use that. Needle up, needle down. This is reverse. It has this little digital panel here. So the stitches all have a number. So if I wanted to do this zigzag stitch here, I would just put this on 0, 4, and then it tells you even what foot to use for that stitch. I'm going to move that back because I don't want to forget that that's like that. And then the stitch length, and it's just very, very easy. This is the tension. I have had no problems with it. It has a threader here. The only time I've had problems is when it's gotten really dirty, and then you need to take this off, get down in there and get all the fluff out of there. And since I quilt and sometimes use flannel for the backing, that's when that most has occurred. It's lightweight. That is an advantage and a disadvantage. The advantage is you can easily move it, pick it up and carry it. I don't even know how much it weighs, but it's not heavy at all. And I would say the disadvantage is that sometimes if you go really fast, then it jumps up and down. But you can go watch the video. They show some of the other features of it. It did not come with a 1/4-inch foot. It came with a walking foot and all these buttonhole things and all kinds of different accessories, but it did not come with the 1/4-inch foot, but that was less than $15, I think, when I ordered it. It does also have a cover that came with it. And yeah, for $149. Oh yeah, this is another great feature. This is like cruise control. Here, turn it. I don't know if you can see. So slow, medium, and fast. I usually do a medium. I very seldom do the slow, and sometimes you can kind of get it somewhere in between there, but that is a great feature also on the machine. So again, I know I'll think of a ton of things after this, but it is the Brother, it's a Brother machine. It's CS6000i. So now I will move on to my irons and what I look for in an iron. I would definitely, by the way, for the sewing machine, I really love the ease of plopping in that bobbin too. It's not just that you can see how much bobbin thread is on there, but that it's just so easy to change it out. I just never really liked the kind that went in sideways and you had to hold that little lever out and then push it in. Okay, moving on to irons. One other thing I wanted to mention about the Brother CS6000i is that the throat space is quite small. I said on an earlier podcast that it was 6 inches, but I just measured it and I can't really show you exactly with one hand because I'm holding the phone with the other hand. Well, maybe I can. Anyway, it's 5 inches, this throat space, and it's not very tall this way. So if you want to finish a lot of your quilts, it would work, but you might struggle a little bit. That's kind of on the small side for that, but other than that, yeah, it's a really good machine. I'm back with the irons now. Just move that out of the way. I know I have a lot of background junk back there, but this is where I sew. So I always just bought, I had inexpensive $15, $20 iron for many, many years. I don't do a lot of ironing. I really mainly do it when I'm quilting. My husband is a retired college professor. He could be a little rumpled. Nobody really cared. Anyway, when I wanted a better iron, I was looking for one. I went to Stitches Midwest, and there was a booth there, and they were selling this Euro Steam. I paid $200 for this, but you can get it for a lot less. I used this as my main iron for a long time, and I really enjoyed it, but I had some problems with it and had to send it back for repair. And there are some real advantages to this, but I do not use it as my main iron now. But I did, prior to recording this, I did show you some of the ways that I really like using it. And for those reasons, I would always want to have one of these, but I wouldn't pay that much for it. So again, it's called the Euro Steam Next Generation 1000W. It has an on-off switch back here. And you put this only works with steam. It is a different type of iron. It has a Teflon, I'll show you, it has a Teflon sole plate, and it has a tank that you must fill with steam. It's more like your Instant Pot or pressure cooker than a traditional iron is. It does not have electrical element here in the sole plate. So you use this to put your water in. They say to use bottled water, which I really don't get because, bottled water. Why not distilled water? But anyway, you fill this up, pour it in, and then you use this, you guys can't see, sorry. Use this to screw that in. It's real squeaky, so I won't do it. And then put this protective cover on. And then there's a valve to close the steam off or leave it on. There's a button there which you push to get the steam. But it only works with water. You cannot use this. It doesn't heat up without the water in it. You need that to get the... Sorry. Okay, that'll be edited out. Sorry, this thing just fell out. I had to take it out. So, but the advantage is that you can put this directly on your fabric. It doesn't scorch. There's some great advantages to it. But it was high maintenance for using on an everyday basis because when the steam would run out, I'd have to wait for it to cool down and then refill it. And that was kind of a nuisance. So, yeah. And so I'll get back to that in a minute. But one time when I had to send it off for repair, it was within the warranty, but I still had to pay for the shipping one way, which was, actually maybe I had to pay both ways. I think it was $50 for me to ship it out there, and they charged me coming back too, which kind of ticked me off for such an expensive iron. It was only about 6 months that I had it. That's why I probably wouldn't buy from them again too. So in the meanwhile, I purchased a Rowenta. Now I had a Rowenta that I had purchased at a garage sale, and the woman said it still worked, and it didn't really, but I only paid $5 for it, so I wasn't going to run back. And it worked okay, but not with steam. And if you have an old Rowenta that was made in Germany and has all metal parts, then hang on to it, because those I think last for a really long time. But these newer ones may not. So I just resolved to not use steam in mine. And that's what my mother does. She just says she just doesn't put steam in it. So I can't attest to that. But I can say I do really like the iron. It is Rowenta focused. I still have the box because I'm that way. Official partner of fashion. It is made in Germany, but it has a lot of plastic on it. And I just don't want to risk having it go bad on me. So I just use starch, spray starch, and forget about the steam in it. It has a really nice shape with this nice pointy bit to it. Oh, I forgot to say that about the Euro Steam. The Euro Steam also has this where you can slide something in here to get to the point. Sorry about that. And yeah, the only problem I've had with this, well, first of all, this is not a problem, but you want an iron, if you're quilting, you do not want an iron with a quick shut off. I don't want to be running back and forth, waiting for it to heat up. It does heat up very quickly, but this does not shut off at all. It doesn't have that safety feature. But that's, I mean, I wanted that. Ideally, I would like an iron that had the option. So if you wanted to put that safety feature on, you could do it. And if not, you could leave it off. But it just comes on and off by unplugging. There's no on and off switch. So that's a little bit of a disadvantage, but I've gotten used to it. And I just know I look over at the ironing board. And if the cord is hanging over the top of the ironing board, I know I've shut it off. I forgot to tell you something, a disadvantage about this Rowenta iron, which you can see more closely here. It's purple. I love purple. There you go. Right here on both sides of the nose of the irons, what I call the nose. You can see here it's deteriorated some. It is plastic, and I think the spray starch and the heat just has corroded, and it's on both sides, unfortunately. So one thing you need to do is kind of watch for this, and if it happens, I just go in and I kind of chip away at it a little bit. I suppose I could complain, but I think it's just, I don't know, all the stuff that I use, and it can make a mark on your fabric, so you kind of need to watch for that. And I just take a little brush to it sometimes and chip all this away and hope for the best. And it works great. It gets to a really nice hot setting, and yeah, I like it. But again, I haven't used steam. However, if I really need to get some wrinkles out, I fire up this thing, this Euro Steam, because it does a job that a regular iron, even with spray starch, cannot do. If you have a persistent wrinkle in something, like where it's been folded by the manufacturer, this really does the job great. And if you're a knitter, it's great for pressing steam. I'll get the cord off the table. Why didn't I think of that sooner? It's great for steaming your knitwear, your wool. You can put it directly on it, which you cannot do that with regular iron, or you'll scorch it. You do not need a pressing cloth with this. You can iron your batting, which, yeah, batting is wrinkled. No matter where you get it from, it's wrinkled. And those wrinkles do not come out easily. This thing you can put directly on here, and in the rest of the video, I happen to be putting a quilt together, sandwiching it together, so I showed you how I use it. So, okay, so that's it. I'll insert that video here. Okay, I'm going to show you what's so great about the iron. It's the Euro Steam right here, 1000W. So I have laid out my quilt top wrong side up, and I'm just looking for loose ends and seams that might not be pressed before I send it off to Nancy. So I have it on 2 plastic tables here, and I can take this iron and steam these right on the table, and it doesn't hurt anything. This is a pad that you can put it on, but it's not really necessary. I could set it down on my fabric for some time before anything would happen bad. So I'm just going along and giving it a burst of steam. This is my wastebasket here in case I find any threads that need to be cut. There's one. Well, I pulled that one. So this is one of the advantages of this iron, that I can do this. And then I will show you pretty soon when I lay out to sandwich up some layers. Then I can iron the batting right on the table and the backing as well. So you can do it without steam too. Just press it, but of course the burst of steam helps. Now I've taken the batting out of the package, and I'm going to spread that over the backing. This way. Now, this is a cotton batting, so I could use a regular iron with this, but I certainly wouldn't want to do it on my table. If I only used this for this purpose, it'd be worth it to me, because trying to iron a batting, and you'd have to, if you had any polyester in it, you would have to use a pressing cloth on an ironing board. That just isn't any fun. Let's see, I have all the way over in that corner, but I don't think the quilt's going to reach that far. So, okay, now I'm going to go get the quilt. Now this, I'm turning it wrong side up because I see a couple of seams that need to be oriented the proper direction. And It's actually going to be more over here, so I don't need to worry about that right side. And this is just my test run. I will then have to take, of course, these off to do the spray basting. Now I'm going to flip it over. Give it a really good press on this side. This iron just does a fantastic job. You can see my blue pencil markings on this. They'll come off with cold water, not with heat. I use that type of a pen. Okay, so now isn't that beautiful? Thank you so much for watching. If you have questions about any of these products, and again, I have no affiliation with the manufacturers or any of the vendors for these products, but I have shared with you what works for me and what I like. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.